Hey, how are you? I'm Bill Root with Root Electric, and I'm not sure if you've heard the news recently, but General Motors just announced that by the year 2035, they are going to switch over their entire vehicle product lineup from gasoline and diesel to electric. I mean, wow. General Motors, that's Chevrolet, GMC, Cadillac, a few other brands, and they're probably one of the biggest auto manufacturers in the world, if not the biggest. So what that tells me is that electric vehicles are becoming mainstream. They're not just kind of the fringe startup like Tesla once was. They're going to start to become the primary mode of transportation for at least people at the consumer level. So for me, since I'm an electrician, a lot of people will come to me and ask me, well, Bill, what do I do? What can I do with my house to service an electric vehicle? Can I even plug an electric vehicle into my house? So I'm going to give you three quick things that you can look at your house to determine if you're ready to install an electric vehicle or to power an electric vehicle up for your house. So number one, the first thing you have to look at is your electric service. So your electric service is the assembly between your electric meter on the outside of your house and the electrical panel on the inside of your house. That's where all of your circuit breakers are, okay? Now, depending on how old your house is or how big your house is, your house in Northern Virginia can have anywhere between a 60 amp service and a 400 amp service, okay? If your house was built anywhere between the 1940s and early 1970s, it could have anywhere between about 60 and 150. And then if it was built from the mid 70s up until the present, it could have anywhere between 150 and about 400 amps. And that's going to vary depending on where you live, what you've had done to your house, that sort of thing. But the nice thing is you don't really have to guess. You can just give us a call. We can take a look at it. We can perform something called load calculations, which are laid out in the electrical code that basically show us how to determine if the service on your house is sufficient to go ahead and power up and charge an electric car. So that's something you could just ask us. You don't have to guess at it. The next thing you have to look at is your main electrical panel, okay? And you have to look at the panel and make sure it's in good enough shape to handle charging an electric car. The reason being there is because electric cars pull a large amount of electricity over a sustained period of time. So depending on what kind of car you have and what kind of charger you're using, you could be pulling anywhere between maybe 32 amps and about 48 amps, and some will even go higher than that. What happens is when you're pulling a large amount of electricity over a sustained period of time, you start running the risk of building up heat if there are any loose connections or wearing parts in your electrical panel. And heat is the biggest enemy to your electrical system, all right? So if you have an older electrical panel, let's say if it's anywhere in the range of 30 years old or older, you're gonna wanna have it looked at, and we can tell you if it needs to be replaced or if the one that you have is good enough. The third item that you're going to want to go ahead and look at, and this is also very important, is you want to know where you're going to park that car, okay? And you want to go ahead and look at, are you going to park it in the garage? Are you going to park it in the driveway? Or do you not have a garage or a driveway at your house? The best place to park an electric vehicle is going to be in the garage. The batteries on them right now, at least most of them are using lithium-ion batteries. They really like to have a constant temperature. And during the summer in Virginia, when you have kind of your extreme heat, or during the winter when it gets a little bit colder, you're going to lose a lot of energy either heating up the battery during the winter, or just having it sit out in the sun and having the HVAC system keep that battery cool. It kind of manages itself. So if you keep it in the garage, that keeps it out of the sun and the heat, and it keeps it out of the cold, and it'll keep that battery healthy for longer. If you want to keep it outside in a driveway, you're going to have to deal with those things a little bit more. But the biggest factor, I would say, as far as I'm concerned, with where you're keeping your car really is kind of what we're going to have to do to get that wire from your main electrical panel over to your garage or your driveway. All right. So what we have to do again is we have to pull a wire from your main electrical panel. Maybe it's in your basement, maybe it's in another part of your house, in a bedroom or something like that. And we're gonna have to pull it either through your basement or through your attic, and then into your garage or near your driveway. And so we're gonna want to know ahead of time, or you're gonna want to know ahead of time, what's going to be necessary to get that circuit over there, because that's really the biggest determining factor in cost. If your electrical panel is located in your garage, it's going to be a lot less expensive to install that outlet or the power connector than it is if your panel is all the way, it's in your basement on the other end of the house. So those are the three things we have. Is your service big enough? Is your electrical panel in good enough shape? And then where are you going to keep the car? So as long as you know those three things, you're going to be well on your way to being well educated on what it's going to take to buy an electric car and keep it at your house. If you have any questions, just feel free to give us a call, send us an email at Root Electric. We'll be really happy to talk to you about what you have, what's at your house, what might need to happen. If you have any questions, even if you think they're silly, just give us a call. We're happy to answer them. So again, I'm Bill Root with Root Electric, and look forward to hearing from you. Thanks.